Evening all, welcome back to Factorio, the game that nobody plays, although many people do play it. The reason I say that is because like nobody seems that interested with this game, and it's kind of hurtful. It's I guess it's like Peter Sellers when he did the film The Butler. I think it's called The Butler. Anyway, he had a lifetime of playing wonderful roles everybody loved him for, but he kind of, it's that kind of thing where you want to be known for something else. I'd love to be a YouTuber that was known for being good at Factorio. Sadly, I'm not. It's funny, really, because like I guess Dust was what defined this channel, which is fine actually, because that was a fun game. But I think it's games like this that I've always secretly had a lot of love for, and I think this one, oh, it's so good. But I can never get people to kind of, kind of get involved with it. I think people are like, oh, it looks kind of good, but they'd rather not touch it with a shitty stick, which seems to be the problem. It's a good game though. It's like Space Engineers. Yeah, everybody loved, I think, the concept of that, but it was so heavy investment, and this is no different. To get to where I am in this game at this moment took 2 years. This is a long freaking save, and I've been playing this save for a long time. But it's one of those games that I think you'll get your money back. Blimey, will you get your money back? Because it just keeps going and going. It is a wonderful, wonderful game. Anyway, so I'm going to talk through what I'm doing. I needed more oil. So much like the Americans in their 90s quest to dominate the oil supply of the world, controversial, maybe. I needed oil. So I've come out to, I guess this is within the perimeter. This is in the safe zone. So this is covered by many, many artillery units. So for the bugs to attack this, as you can see, that little red circle, you got the very thick red circle there, which shows turrets, and then you got the very faint, larger red circle that shows artillery. So you'd have to be freaking crazy to kill this. Now look at how much technology I am showing here. I just copied an existing base that's across the other side of the map, and now I'm going to get my robot minions to build it. How can you not love this game? Because you don't even have to really work that hard in it, and yet the result you get from it is wonderful. So, I don't know. This is one of those kind of, I guess, games that I think is always going to be niche. It's always going to be niche. And that isn't a cousin or related to you. That's niche, where I just think people either love it or it's like, oh my God, that looks complex. And they immediately recoil in absolute terror and horror, which, again, I can understand. It's a good game, though. I mean, again, it's something that I guess you have to invest the time in. It's a bit like Eve in a way, where you have to kind of throw an awful lot of time into it to get something out of it. And I think this game, when you first start, oh my God, it's like a torture when you first start playing, because you can't do anything and you're so limited. I mean, look at my drones are just doing everything. I have my engineering train. I'm just picking up stuff and off the drones go. And that's pretty much how lazy I am with this game. But it's also why I quite like it, because I don't know, it feels like it just continues to grow. It's something that scales infinitely almost. Eventually your computer won't be able to run the game anymore, which is a wonderful marker to say, you're done, clap your hands together, next game. I love that. Basically your computer is, the technology behind your computer is the limit of what you are able to do with this game. So yeah, it keeps going until your computer can't run it anymore. And you're done. Great example of a game that is just quite odd. There's so much, I think, that this game does right. And I think it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those ones that I think I never will understand why I love it so much. It could just be the complexity. So that's what I loved about Eve, right? So when I started playing Eve, I flew around in frigates and I kind of started to mine stuff, and then, I kind of started to earn a few credits, and I thought to myself, I kind of get it. I understood the system of how you make money in this game. And then all of a sudden, something clicked, and it's like, oh, I think I know how to make a lot of money in Eve. And that's no different to this game, where all of a sudden you think, oh, I get it. And you realize that you can become an industrial god. And that's when the fun starts, because, I mean, the scalability of this game is something really to behold. But You know, it's not for everyone, so I totally accept it's going to be my Peter Sellers the Butler moment. Is it the Butler? I'm sure it's the Butler. I'll have to Google it afterwards. But anyway, that was a film nobody wanted. The studios didn't want it, but he basically said, "This is the film all my life I've wanted to make, and this is the game all my life that I've wanted to be, kind of known for." But it's also the game that nobody gives much of a monkeys about. I think even the biggest YouTuber in this game has got nobody really following or viewing. It's very, very niche. It's kind of like, Afghani porn, and I'm going to be very careful what I say there. It's just so specialist and niche that involves lots of goats, things like that. I'm joking, that's terribly racist, but you know what I mean. It's that kind of very specialized, unusual game. I get that. Oh, I do love. Anyway, quick status update. So let's just talk about some of the other games that I'm currently playing. Eve is going well. Really enjoying it, actually. Doing a huge amount of stuff in that at the moment. It's just, waggling my toe into the pool, figuring out what I quite enjoy. I don't know if you saw, I linked Schlee's last bit of gaming footage of Dust 514. So if you want to have a look at that, just go to my tweets. It should be there. Oh my god, I sound like a right dick bag now, don't I? Go to my tweets. Don't forget to subscribe and like. No, I don't. I never do that. Or I probably have, but I don't do it anymore because, to be honest, don't give a shit. So go and have a look at that because it was wonderful seeing Dust after a year plus of not playing it. There was something very wonderful about all of a sudden sort of just dipping the toe back in and seeing this wonderful yet flawed game. It's kind of, I don't know, it reminded you of all the things great, and it also reminded you of all the things that were not so great. And there was quite a few of them. I mean, the last match, the last few days had specialized contracts where you could take a team of 16 people in. So it was basically 16 versus 16. If you could get that, most of the time it was our 16 group of people who were all quite good at the game. And it was then us 16 versus a randomized group of dudes who kind of couldn't work out in their minds why they're getting utterly curb stomped. And that was pretty much evident of what Dust became all about, really, in the end. It is a shame what happened there. I think, that it's a big... it's a shame that it never, had that recognition that I kind of felt it deserved. I mean, post in the comments if you disagree with that. But I knew it was flawed. It was on a console, for God's sake. But it was good, and it had such potential. And for me, the ability to have multiple fits, you could have two dudes in the same suit, but yet the outcome of what they produce from their fitting is entirely different. So speed tank, structure tank, shield tank, I don't know, whatever it is. But I loved all of that, or you just go pure DPS and just wipe out the other person. So for me, I don't think there's ever been a shooter like that before, and I'm racking my brain now. Maybe was it Battlefield 2144? You still couldn't do that. You couldn't finitely fit a suit to do a particular role. Post in the comments if I got that wrong. I'm pretty sure you couldn't, but it breaks my heart in a way because the reality of that game was there were some great clever ideas in there, and they never just merged it together. Like the ability to do orbital bombardments was wonderful, but it was just so difficult to do. It was just so this is difficult. Why couldn't you just let anybody bombard? So literally a beacon will appear in Eve saying, "There's people here, go kill them for money," and then you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'll fire on that." Boom, dead. It's that kind of thing. If there'd have been a bit more, a bit less, what's the word? A bit less real-time strategy, a bit more arcade, I think that might have been a good connection. I also thought that, the link between what Dust people could do was also slightly flawed. Anyway, I'm not talking about Dust, I'm playing Factorio. Yeah, it's kind of dumb. I've got to admit, doing YouTube again is fascinating because it's such a weird thing. It's a weird hobby. It's a weird thing to do, and it's this kind of infinite desire to express, amuse, and almost disappoint. It just seems to be part of my life now, where I'm just curious to see what I remember, if anything. Doing videos is fun. I really do urge anyone who wants to try it to just do it. If you can get over that thing of you're talking to yourself in a room, then the world's your oyster. Because at the end of the day, don't you want some record of what you've achieved? I think that's why I do it. I certainly know that's why I do it, because you know, just looking back at some of the old videos I've done to this point, it's been very, very nice to see that. Like I sat and watched a Stellaris game that I did years ago, and I forgot entirely about Stellaris. What a wonderful game that was. And yet you kind of just get distracted with the latest bit of tinsel as it flutters past your face and turns into a butt fire, and off you go and you're chasing it. And you forget, oh my God, there's some really nice games out there that I think without kind of remembering them, you would just completely forget. And I think it's kind of tragic in a way. But hey, there we go. Factorio to me is always going to be a game, a forever game. I mean, I'm hooked on it. I think it's every time they come out with something new, I'm all over it. I like the game generally. It has a lot going for it. I think they just, you know, they've done such a great job with what is essentially an incredibly simple, straightforward game. You know, and I kind of wish there were more games like this where the creators of it, they released like 7 different versions of the game or updates to the game over Christmas. That's how dedicated they are. Having an active developer player base is so cool. Anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.